Okay, so I see a problem here. If we could resolve this some way and you could show Deanna or she could show you, and it would satisfy her that nobody could go in and make changes, I think we would be able to cross one bridge. There may be other bridges, but that would help.
Yeah.
I have just, my question is, why, Deanna is one, you are another. Why now are we inserting a third party? Does this go back to the original January meeting when it wasn't conducted by that body properly as far as making a motion, a second, and a vote? Does that go back? Because it seems like we're going all the way back to January. Now we run forward to August. And now we're going to have a third person involved in this particular department of the county. Not anyone else's, even though it's a work in progress according to this body. Understand, maybe you're going A for auditor before we get down to some of the others. I don't know how you're doing it, but my question is, why did you arbitrarily put in a third person in the person of a clerk who is not relatively in this department at all? He works as a clerk in the elections in Fletcher King. Am I correct understanding what I just heard? So, can you answer me? Clear that up for me.
Okay.
Can I say something first? In January, it wasn't clear to me, and I don't think it was clear to any of us when it was this agreement, not a vote, but when this agreement that Deanna would be this security officer, that she was the only one. I didn't understand that at all. I didn't understand that others' powers were being taken away. I thought she was just being incorporated into it.
Were you the presiding commissioner at the time?
I was not the presiding commissioner, but I was here when that.
Dan was.
Dan, you were here. And you didn't understand it at the time?
I'm speaking for myself.
But well, my question was, because we keep going back to this January meeting where it wasn't properly, a motion wasn't put forth, second, and voted. Because this body, who is the top administrator for the county, didn't conduct it properly at the time. Now we're going to go back from this point forward because that wasn't done properly. My question is, why do we have a third person inserted here? Are you going to have 4 or 5 people in Kevin Bishop's office? Is it just this particular department of the county is my question.
Okay, I can answer that.
Thank you.
To use the term arbitrarily is off base. This was not an arbitrary decision.
How so?
I'm in the process of trying to tell you.
Okay.
Once again, you're failing to recognize the levels. The second person came at the recommendation of Tyler Technology. We're not having 3. The administrator of the accounting system is 1, and that's Deanna. The point of contact, this level, the contracting party, we don't want to do debits and credits. At the recommendation of the attorney and to Tyler Technologies, they said you need to have a second person because you won't always be there. What if something happens to you?
I think it's important to note too that regardless if there's 1 administrator or 15, each administrator has their own administrator password, correct? So if there were to be
Not the way the system's set up right now.
it's able to be done that way. So that if there were to be changes, if that's the argument, someone could go in and manipulate the numbers or do whatever, you would be able to see who did that, which administrator did that, and you'd be able to back them up with the report from the hour before those changes happened. So it's not like this can just all of a sudden, with a wave of a wand, someone can go in and change things. That's not it. There's obviously internal controls built into the system. It's not set up that way currently because she's the only one with access and is the only one that has given herself her password after it was taken from everyone else. So it's anyone that would go in to make changes, you would know who that person was based on the authorities that were given through Tyler Technologies.
So Dan, if, say Diana is, God forbid, hit by a car and she's laid up in the hospital for weeks, and you as the security administrator, would you be able to go in and pay the bills and approve everything that she does? Do you know her job?
No, I would have to name the replacement.
Or I think the governor would have to name my
No, I'm not,
replacement.
Well,
I'm not saying name a new auditor, I'm saying in the interest of the day-to-day operations.
someone to take over.
We would, if they said she's on life support, she cannot do her job, someone has to be able to jump in and make those entries to do that stuff.
So I have a second part of my question. So, say you were given, you vote and you were given yourself access, security access. Would that be tied to your home computer?
No.
But you can do it from home.
No, the access at this point has to be done from the computer in the server room in there. I have no desire to have access to this on my own computer.
Just asking. I mean, most everybody's got a computer now.
I'm doing everything in my power to keep this job from infiltrating my household any more than it already has. I have no desire to have the accounting system in my household. Joe?
Dan, if a different level of security could be set up in the system, where people would be responsible and show entries that were possibly changed or made, would that make you happy with access that way?
We already have that.
I mean, but right now you'll have, was it like a read-only access, is this correct?
Yes.
So you can't make any changes in the system.
Right, I have no desire to make changes.
I mean, but I'm saying, I think this, everyone is upset because giving people access to the system, possibly making changes, not possibly a compromise of the system. You know, I think this is what everybody's upset about. You know, if they're promised security in the system, if changes are made, some way to verify who made the changes, when, why, whatever. And again, maybe like different levels of security, different levels of access. You know, I think that might make a lot of people more apt to accept this. You know, that
Bob, that's where we're
Joe, yeah.
it's the second time they have called you Bob.
Yeah.
That's Bob or Joe. We're not trying. I have no desire to get the authority to change entries.
But the capability
But
would
right
be
now,
there.
anyone, whether it be Deanna, whether it be Ann, or Ellen, or Rick, or Kim, or Matt, anybody could call Tyler Technologies and start to give directives. All I'm trying to do is establish the go-to. Who do they call? Where do they start? And if I'm not here, Fletcher serves in my stead. I'm not trying to gain access to any account records.
What about a deputy to her rather than Fletcher to you? I don't understand that.
Fletcher's area, this is an IT software matter.
I
Fletcher,
thought it was an accounting matter.
no, see, that's just it. It's not an accounting matter. It's software. And a week from now, 2 weeks from now, we'll talk about 911. We'll talk about the collector. We'll talk about the assessor. We won't be talking about accounting with them, will we? We'll be talking about software.
Their systems.
And their security.
But the problem is, the way the security works in this software system is that whoever you give administrative rights to has all rights inside the system. They can make changes. They can delete journal entries. They can,
We're not asking for any of that. We're just putting,
You're saying you're gonna get that asking for it or not?
yeah,
Is that what you just
if
said?
you get administrative rights inside the system, you've got it.
okay, let's call it
Whether
something
you're asked
different
for it or not.
besides administrative right. We're not trying to get the rights to go through and change your access. We don't want that. But in talking to Tyler Technology and in talking to Ivan Schrader, we have a serious problem. Anybody in this building can call Tyler Technologies and talk to them right now. Do you realize that?
For support, yes, in using the system.
Not just for support.
What are you saying?
I'm saying they can talk, well, we want to do this, we want to do that. And they will listen to them. There's no point. All we're trying to do is establish the contracting party as the point of contact. I don't want your administrative rights.
Maybe we've had a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about it, I know we have.
Yeah.
I've been listening for the last
We sure have, haven't we?
days. I'm like,
Well,
what?
maybe.
I think
So-
you're on something, Elaine. We've had
Well,
a misunderstanding.
And because in the computer world, the word system administrator has a particular meaning.
Okay.
You're simply wanting, you're wanting anybody that's going to incur any kind of maintenance that costs the county money to the software system? Is that what you're wanting? You're wanting those kind of things to go through you?
That's one thing that would go directly
Okay.
through me. Right now, that's not in place.
Okay, and I understand that concern, but when Deanna talked to me, her understanding was that the system administrator, and I think we have talked about that earlier today,
Right.
would have the ability to change passwords, determine who has access, that kind of thing. And that's where she's so nervous about the accounting records that she's trying to maintain in her office as auditor. So you're saying there's two different levels of security, and she would still somehow have control over the entries and the accounting, and
She
you're
got
wanting
complete
something
control over
different?
that. Is that not right? She
But
has
you're wanting
complete-
something different that doesn't include that?
That's a big part of it, yeah. Because
But you're
right,
asking me to grant it to you, and I don't have anything to
Well,
grant.
that's another part of it. By granting me access, yeah, I would like to be put in there as well, just in the event that something untimely happens to you. As chief budget officer and
Well, I
arguably the
think-
chief executive of the county, I have the right to access those records as well.
And she's saying that you do have read-only access.
Right.
But I guess maybe we're back to our original
I mean,
difference
even if
of
something
opinion.
happened to me, you still wouldn't have, it wouldn't be legal for you to go in there and approve and post journal entries. As
That's what
He's not
presiding
looking,
commissioner,
that's not, you're not even
to
looking
do
at
my
that
job
yet.
if something happened to me. I mean, if
That's not-
something happened to me, the way the system's set up right now, everything goes on the way it's going. The only thing that would stop is the person that's approving and posting journal entries, which is me.
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing that would stop.
But my point is, no matter what level we look at this, according to Ivan Schrader, I represent the contracting party. If I want to share, let's say I wanted to share administrative rights with you, that's my right.
But not your auditing rights. You've got your auditing rights no matter what. So if you're thinking right then when he said that you're not gonna have any.
I mean, we can
She's not
take-
thinking it's gonna be taken away.
Okay,
She's
good.
thinking that
I
it's gonna
hope-
be
I hope she-
shared
Compromise.
and
Shared
compromised.
and
That's her concern.
Okay, I mean, we can take, let's take Fletcher out of the equation,
Good idea. That's a good idea.
okay?
Have a second.
Yes, can we do a motion?
But this administrator, whether it's you or Fletcher or both of you, would still have the ability to go in and do everything that she does as auditor, correct? Technically, in using the software system.
I think that could be set up that way. I'm of the belief that we could set it up where you have the level of administration as far as the true administration of the system, not as far as the ability to get in and change entries.
Okay.
But my point is, as contracting party, I'm well within my rights to say, I want exactly what you have. And while that may make you uncomfortable, that doesn't mean it's not my right.
Well, and I, again, I think because these statutes are so old, I understand your concern that the county paid for the system and you contracted for it. But I really have a dilemma with how much access you should have to her records. So, and that's something I don't know that any of us are ever going to be able to come to an agreement on. Are you saying that you think there can be some level as administrator that you would have, but that you would not have access to her records? Because when I hear you say, what